Hello student, welcome you to Mohan Sir's classes. In this class we will learn part 2 of your chapter 12, the main features of democracy. Early we have learned part 1, and in part 1 we have learned the introduction part of the main features of democracy. Hope all of you remembered and understood. In part 1 we will learn the introduction part of the main features of democracy, which is the chapter 12, and it is the second chapter of your political science section. And in this class, today's class, we are going to learn the main features of democracy. Altogether there are 11 main features are there, but out of that 11 main features, today's class will learn 5 main features of democracy. Understood? Today's class we will learn 5 main features of democracy, and part 3 we will continue rest of 6 features of democracy. There are altogether 11 features are there, the main features of democracy. How many? There are 11. But in this part 2, we will learn only 5 main features of democracy. Rest of 6 main features of democracy we will learn in the part 3. So let us begin the class. Out of 11 main features of democracy, the first main features of democracy is an accountable government. Listen carefully. Out of 11 main features of democracy, the first main features of democracy is what? An accountable government. So what do you mean by an accountable government, or what is the meaning of an accountable government? We are going to learn from this paragraph. We saw the ultimate decision-making power in Libya lay with military rule. In part 1, we came to know that Libya and Myanmar was ruled by dictators, that means military ruler. And there also we learned that the decision and power was lying in the hand of military rule. He was not chosen by people, and we know that this military ruler of Libya and Myanmar, they are not chosen by the people, and the people were compelled to abide the order of military junta. That means the people of Libya and Myanmar, they had to follow all the rules and regulation and all the order of whom? Military junta. Next, the junta was not accountable to anyone. That means the military junta was not responsible for the people. Listen carefully. So, an accountable government, that means a responsible government. Understood? An accountable government in the sense what? A responsible government. When we talk about Libya and Myanmar, these two countries were ruled by the dictators, that means military ruler, and these people were not chosen by the people, and the people of this Libya and Myanmar, they were compelled, they were forced to follow the rules and regulation or the order of this military junta. But this junta was not responsible for the people. This military junta was not responsible for the people. But in a democratic country, the representatives chosen by the people and legislative assembly are supreme. But when we talk about the democratic country, the representative chosen by the people and legislative assembly are supreme. So who is supreme, or powerless in the hand of whom? That means powerless in the hand of representatives and legislative assembly, and they are chosen by the people, or they are elected by the people. There are various ways in which elected governments are accountable to the people. That means there are various ways in which this elected government or this representative are responsible for the people. We know that we are electing MP, MLA, Sarpanch, or we can say what Prime Minister, Chief Minister. So they are representative. We the people, we elect them or we chosen them. So whatever problem we face, that is the responsible of those people who's MP, MLA, Prime Minister, Chief Minister, all this. They are responsible for the people in various way. A look at the government system in India will show us that the central and state governments are accountable to the people and their representatives in many ways. If you look the government system of India, it will show us that both the central and the state government are responsible to the people or accountable to the people, and the representatives also accountable for the peoples. Next, in India, all members of the executive like Prime Minister, Chief Minister, Council Minister, senior officials are accountable to the Parliament or the State Legislative Assembly. Just we discussed few minutes ago that in India, all member of executive, what is this? The branches of government. So like a Prime Minister, Chief Minister, Council of Minister, senior officers and representatives, they all are accountable or responsible for what? Parliament or State Legislative Assembly. So what is an accountable government? That here we will learn a difference between dictators and democratic government. So first of all we will learn that in Libya and Myanmar, the power lays in the hand of military ruler and they are not chosen or elected by the people. And the people are compelled to abide or to follow all the rules and regulations as well as order of this military junta. In same time, this military junta was not responsible or accountable to the people. But when we talk about democratic government, the representative chosen by people and the legislative are supreme. That means power lies in their hand. And these people who are elected by the people, so they are responsible for the people. And if you look a government system of India, it will show that both the state and central government are responsible and accountable for the people and also their representative in many ways. If you look the executive system of India like Prime Minister, Chief Minister, Council of Minister, senior officials and representatives are they are responsible and accountable both in the parliament and in the legislative assembly. So this is the first main features of democracy. The second main features of democracy is election after fixed intervals. Elections after fixed interval. That means we have election system that is a fixed period of time. That means every 5 years we have election. Every 5 years we have election and we change the government. Let us look the paragraph. All democratic government are elected for a fixed period. In all democratic government, that means the elected or the representatives are elected for a fixed period of time. Do you know how many years this fixed period of, periods in India? So question is now, do you know how many years this fixed period is in India? So I hope all of you know it is how many years? 5 years. A government can return to power only if it is re-elected by the people. That means if a government is running and if they again want to come to power, so they have to be re-elected. Who? After 5 years, the representatives has to be re-elected. Elections are the time when the people experience and exercise their power in democracy. So, during election, people have the power to experience and exercise in democracy. Understood? During election, people experience and exercise their power in democracy, because we know that until and unless people give vote, the representatives can't come into power. That's why here the people shows or exercise their power in democracy. By holding election at fixed intervals, people retain control over government. Understood? So, by holding at fixed interval or fixed period of time, people retain control over the government. If people are not satisfied with the performance of their elected representatives, they can change the government through election. Just take an example. If there is a MP or MLA, if he or she is not doing her duty perfectly or not taking the responsibility of the people, then people can change that person. By how? By re-election. Understood? So, what you learn, that if people are not satisfied with the performance of the elected government or representative, then people have the power to change that person or to elect another person to that particular post. So, what is the second main features of democracy? That is called what? Election after fixed interval. That means election has to be conducted after every 5 years. After every 5 years. So, here it will learn that in democratic governments, all representatives are elected for a fixed period of time, and it is for 5 years. And if that same person want to come to power, then again he or she has to be re-elected by the people. And during the election time, people experience and exercise their power in democracy. Next, if people are not satisfied with any of the representative performance, then they can change the government through again election. This is what about election after fixed interval. Next, the third main features of democracy is free and fair elections. What is the third main features of democracy? That is free and fair election. So what is meant by free and fair election we will learn from this paragraph. Let us begin the paragraph. To hold free and fair election, it is necessary that they are conducted by an independent body and all political parties are permitted to participate without any precondition. So what does this sentence says that? This sentence says to hold free and fair election, it is what? Necessary that they are conducted by independent body and all political parties are permitted to participate. In a free and fair election, it is necessary that it should be conducted by an independent body. And in this free and fair election, all the political parties are permitted to participate without any precondition. Example, we have BJP, BJD, BSP and Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, Communist Party. So many parties are there. So all the political parties, they have permission to participate in the election. Next, India has a body called the Election Commission to conduct election. In India, there is a body. What is that? Election Commission. This Election Commission, they conduct election. Understood? In India, who conduct the election? In India, Election Commission, they conduct election. Next, the Constitution bestows special powers on the Election Commission to conduct free and fair election. So our Constitution of India, they have given a special power to whom? Election Commission. Understood? Our Constitution of India given a special power to Election Commission for what? For conducting free and fair election. Next, A multi-party system is also necessary in a democratic to hold a impartial election. That means if we want to conduct a free and fair election, we need to have a multi-party system. What is the meaning of multi-party system? That means we need to have many parties like BJP, BJD, Congress, or you can say BSP, Aam Aadmi, and Communist. Such kinds of many parties has to be there. If there are no many party, only one party is there, then that party will, without election also they can win the election. That's why we need to have many parties. It gives people a range of alternatives to choose from. That means if there are many parties are there, then people can choose their best, which is best for them. So, what is the third main features of democracy? That is free and fair election. Free and fair election in the sense that to hold free and fair election, it is necessary that it has to be conducted by independent body and all the political party has to be participate in the election. And in India, for conducting election, we have a election commission, and the Constitution of India has given a special power for to whom? To election commission to conduct the free and fair election. And for free and fair election, multi-party system is necessary, because if there are only single party, then people can't choose their alternative. But the many parties are there, then people can choose which is best for them. So this is the third main features of democracy. The fourth main features of democracy is universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise. We say that democracy is government by the people. We know that democracy is a government which is by the people. That means without people there is no democracy. This means every adult in a country, whether male or female, rich or poor, of any religion or faith, speaking any language, has the right to vote. Understood? What is universal adult franchise? That means in a democratic country, democracy is what? Government by the people. So what does it mean that democracy is government by the people? That means it means every adult in a country. What is adult? That means those whose age are above 18. Those whose age are above 18, they are called what? Adult. So either they may be a male or female, they may be rich or poor, they may be Hindu, Muslim, or what is a Christian, any religion, or they may speak any language, Telugu, Tamil, or Chhattisgarhi, or you can say Punjabi, Bihari, whatever language may be, everyone has the right to cast vote. That is called what? Universal adult franchise. That means everyone has the right to cast vote. This political equality each vote has the same value. So this is political equality. That means everyone has the right to cast vote, and every vote or each vote has the same value. If a rich person casts the vote or a poor person, both vote has the same value. Either it is a male or female, both vote has the same value. Either they are Hindu or Muslim, both vote has the same value. Whether rich or poor, literate or illiterate, every person vote has equal value. Understood? Whoever may be, but everyone's vote has equal value. In the beginning, some countries limited the right to vote to only these people who own property and paid tax. But when we talk about this election system in the initial stage or in the beginning, some of the country they limited the right to vote only to the people, those who are having property and those who are paying tax. Understood? This sentence says that some of the countries in the initial or in the beginning stage, what they used to do, the limitation of the casting vote was limited to the person those were rich and having property, and those were paying tax. Only those people could tax vote. Except them, no other people has right to vote. After much struggle, the right to vote was gradually given to everybody. Thereafter, there was many fighting, many complaint, many quarreling. At last, the right to vote or right to casting vote was given to everybody. In India, universal adult franchise was accepted from the day of the constitution was adopted. This means all people as 18 years of and above can cast their vote. But when we speak about India and talk about India, this universal adult franchise, that means those who are above age of 18, so those who are age of 18 or above age of 18, everyone given same chance at the first time election in India. Understood what you learned from this paragraph? That means some of the country earlier they had not given permission to cast vote to everyone. They had given only to the rich person and those who are paying tax. But India is a country, in the first time itself they given permission to everyone for casting vote. Those who are age 18 or above age 18, either they are Hindu, Muslim, they are rich or poor, they are educated or uneducated, whatever may be, for everyone they given chance to cast vote. So this is one specialty of India. So what is universal adult franchise? That means democracy is government by the people, and that means what? Everybody adult, so every adult in a country, whether they are male or female, rich or poor, any religion, any faith, any language, all they have right to cast vote. And this is what political equality, and each vote has the same value. Either they are rich or poor, they are literate or illiterate, everyone's vote has the equal value. But when you talk about some of the countries in the initial stage, what did they do? They given permission to or right to vote only to rich person and those who are paying tax. But India is a country which in the first election itself given permission what? Universal adult franchise to everyone. That means those who are age 18 and above age of 18, to everyone given chance to cast the vote. The fifth main features of democracy is people's participation in democracy. People's participation in democracy. So what does mean people's participation in democracy? We will learn from this paragraph. In a democracy, people participate in the functioning of the government. In a democratic country, people participate in the functioning of the government. Citizens play an active role in making and implementing laws. That means for making law or implementing law or for enacting law, people play an active role. Understood? For making the law or implementing the law also what? People play an active role. It is the people who inform the government of their problems and needs. So who inform governments their problems and needs? It is people who inform government their problems and needs. So what you learn from this paragraph? That means in democracy, people participate in the functioning of running of the government, and citizens play an active role in making and implementing the laws. And it is who? People, those who inform government about their problems and needs. Before a policy is formulated, it is widely discussed among people. Example, if government or parliament is going to make a law, before that it is widely discussed among the people. Understood? In parliament, any law or any rule is what has to be sanctioned or to be implemented. First of all, it is discussed widely among the people. There are many ways this is done to strengthen democracy. So, in many ways it is discussed. How? People write articles in the newspaper and present memorandums to the government about the proposed law or policy. That means when about a law or policy is discussed in parliament, thereafter it is informed to people and people are asked to participate. Then how people participate? They write articles in the newspaper. Who? People write articles in the newspaper and present momentum to the government about the proposed law or policy. Next, they participate in discussion on television and internet. That means we have seen that when in TV news that whenever something is like a something law or policy has to be passed, then people, what the intelligent and the expert people, they discuss, they argue in the television. So seems like that people also can participate and discuss through how? Television and internet. Next, they hold seminars, workshop and meeting. By holding seminars, workshop and meeting also, people participate in democracy. Next, they use many other methods to make their opinion on the law or policy known. That means not only like writing articles or like discussing in the television and internet or like a holding seminar, workshop or meeting. There are many other ways that people participate or give their opinions for making this law and policies. There are many societies and communities to direct this discussion and interaction. That means there are many societies and committees. They directly discuss and do interaction about these laws and policy. The biggest enemy of democracy is the apathy of people. Understood? What is the biggest enemy of democracy? Apathy of the people. So what is the meaning of apathy or apathy? That means what? The absence of people emotion or absence of people interest. This is the what? Biggest enemy of democracy. So what you learn that? That means before a policy is formulated, it is discussed among the people widely and people participate in the many way. How? They write articles in newspaper and they present the memorandum to the government about the laws and policy, and they also discuss where in television and internet. They also held seminar, workshop, meeting. In other ways, people present their opinion for making the law and policy. But there are many societies and committee that directly discuss and do interaction. And what is the biggest enemy of democracy? Apathy is the biggest enemy of democracy. What is the meaning of apathy? That means the absence of people emotion or the absence of people interest. If these things are not there, then democracy cannot be pure and fair. That's why this is the biggest enemy of democracy. So in this today's class, we will learn 5 main features of democracy. As I told you in the beginning that there are 11 main features of democracy are there. Next 6 main features of democracy we will learn part 3 of this class. Today we learn only 5 main features of democracy. First we learn an accountable government. Second, we learn election after fixed interval. Third, we learn free and fair election. Fourth, we learn universal adult franchise. And fifth, we learn people participation in democracy. These are the 5 features of democracy. Next 6 features we will continue in the part 3 of this video. Hope all of you understood these 5 main features of democracy.